Implicit bias is a very sensitive topic, and it can often be a trigger word because no one wants to be associated with any form of bias. But as humans, we have these subconscious beliefs in our mind that help to inform how we interact with people who we encounter every day. And sometimes that might bring with it discomfort or curiosity, or it might bring up some unknown emotions that we don't know how to address. And in particular, with mentorship, when it comes to interacting with people, especially people of a different ethnic composition or cultural background, professional background, there are these rules of engagement that we believe everyone should subscribe to. And if someone doesn't meet our particular mindset or standard around how we engage or how to communicate with each other, it can often cause a little bit of friction. But when it comes to implicit bias, it's this automatic association with a preconceived idea or identity of who someone is and what their capacity to be able to achieve a task is or to amount to anything in their life. It's really important to consider your own context at which you're approaching an experience when engaging with someone who you may be mentoring. I'll give you an example from my own experience. I have the wonderful privilege of working with faculty to help facilitate virtual exchanges. I will help faculty design experiences that allow for these international peer collaborations. And I remember working on a project that was heavily influenced by the Sustainable Development Goals. And the outcomes of their engagement were to engage with each other based on their shared interest for a specific sustainable development goal. And so the pairs that the faculty were working with were based on something that was pretty neutral. And there is no specific identity attached to why they were engaging for this shared output, for this shared project that they were going to be working on. Oh, I heard back from one of the faculty members who had concerns that the individual that she was going to be working with was a president of a college, the rector, um, and that he wouldn't have the capacity to be able to work with her of the world that she was collaborating with. She made an assumption based on her own previous experiences that he was going to anticipate that she would do the heavy share of the work. And she felt concerned about that, which she expressed to me. And sure enough, they actually had one of the most powerful collaborations. And the individual who she was collaborating with showed up in ways that she couldn't expect. But it was her preconceived notion that the fact that he was male and the fact that he was coming from a specific region of the world, that he should automatically behave in a certain way. And so it was really interesting as a mentor to be able to experience these individuals who were having this type of experience with each other. One who had her perspective on what this was going to be, and the other who was very committed and didn't know that there were these preconceived notions of how they would interact. But the truth is, no one is truly exempt from implicit bias because it's our previous experiences that inform how we engage. The only thing we can truly control in any experience, though, is how we show up. And so making a commitment to be open minded and to not minimize the experiences of others. Working with this faculty pair was a really interesting experience for me, mostly because I was so pleased on the end of their engagement that they had such a wonderful encounter with each other and that they've had multiple years of successful collaboration after the concerns in the beginning of their experience working together. The way that I navigated the situation was making sure that everyone who came and addressed a concern was heard, because it's not up to me as someone who is working in a mentorship capacity to be able to inform somebody what their reality is. That would be something called minimization. And so I heard the faculty member who was the female faculty member sharing a bit about her experience and her concern based on her idea of what should happen based on who she was collaborating with and what region they were from. And to the other side of that, the person who she was collaborating with had articulated, yes, he's very busy, but he was very committed to this engagement and making sure that despite limited connectivity, that he would be able to participate to the degree that was expected of him in this engagement. So I was able to hear him and I was able to hear her. And it was my role to serve in some way as an intermediary and to offer a different perspective, not to challenge what the reality or the concern of someone is, but to give a different side of an experience that might show something that can be learned. The role of a mentor is how do we walk together from point A to point B, not to side with any individual to say, oh, yeah, I bet you money he's going to expect you to do all the work just because he has this title, because he's from this area, and because he's a man. We have these preconceived notions when we engage with individuals that can sometimes help facilitate an experience to be a great success or possibly take away from a really successful encounter if we're not looking beyond our own biases. And to be able to look beyond our own biases, we have to be open minded to learning about intercultural learning. We have to be open minded to understanding where our own personal limitations are and to read and to learn about context and perspective and really take a look at what is the overarching goal.